On the riverbank, police discovered the body of a man estimated to be around 43 years old. The cause of death? He was chained by the neck. Adding to the strangeness, he had an electronic monitoring ankle bracelet. Turns out, he'd just been released from prison 8 months prior after serving time for sexual assault. There was a needle injection mark on his neck. And get this, his tongue was missing. They couldn't find it anywhere. Then Choi tells everyone to check underneath the body. And what did they find? The severed tongue. This gruesome discovery immediately brings to Choi's mind a serial killer from over 20 years ago. Nicknamed the Mantis, this was a woman named Aishin, who murdered 5 other men with disturbingly similar methods to this current case. All 5 of Aishin's victims had a history of abusing women, including their own wives and children. It looks like this new killer might be trying to copycat Aishin's MO. This case is giving Nahi a major headache. She's been practically living and breathing this investigation, losing sleep and skipping meals to stay on the killer's trail. She even collapsed at the police station from exhaustion. Meanwhile, back at the prison where Aishin is locked up, she's been following the recent murders on TV. She decides to write a letter to Captain Choi requesting a meeting. Turns out, Aishin has a son named Soo-yul. Soo is a cop himself, working in the narcotics unit. He and his team are raiding a house after a tip about a possible crime scene. Inside, they find a man who's been seriously injured. His wife and daughter are sitting beside him. The victim keeps repeating the killer was wearing a blue shirt and a yellow hat, but he keeps glancing at his wife, which raises Soo-yul's suspicions. Soo checks his wife and finds a fresh injection mark on her arm. She suddenly pulls a knife on Soo-yul and makes a run for it. She ends up on the roof, trapped with nowhere to go. In a delusional state, she grabs her daughter and threatens to jump. Without hesitation, Soo-yul shoots her in the leg, managing to save both their lives. But the unexpected shooting lands Soo-yul in hot water with his superiors. They chew him out, pointing out that if the bullet had hit the child, the police would have been in a world of trouble. But Soo-yul felt he had no other choice in that situation. Outside, Soo-yul sees the little girl, now without a father, and with her mother facing serious charges. This reminds him of his own childhood, after his mother, the notorious killer, was arrested. He was all alone just like her. Even now, Soo-yul is still haunted by his mother, the woman he's cut all ties with and wants nothing to do with. The police chief is laying into Captain Choi about Aishin's case. She's a monster who snuffed out 5 lives, and she's living like she's on vacation in prison, eating and drinking just like everyone else, all paid for with taxpayer money. He's referring to the conditions Aishin demanded in exchange for her confession. She doesn't want her current life exposed to the outside world. The chief is worried that if this new case gets out there as a copycat mantis killer situation, the press will dig up Aishin's information. Then they'll be demanding everything be made public, including her whereabouts. Choi assures him that if that happens, they'll leak information that Aishin died in prison, covering up her current life. Choi then goes to see Aishin himself. She promises to cooperate with the police to catch the copycat killer. But of course, she has more conditions. The very next day, Choi tracks down Soo-yul. Choi wants Soo-yul to transfer to the Major Crimes Unit to help him investigate the copycat killer. But even more importantly, it's to fulfill Aishin's request. She only wants to communicate through Soo-yul. Just hearing his killer mother's name makes Soo-yul's blood boil. Choi advises Soo-yul to think long and hard about it, because this is the only way they can get a lead on the killer. That night, another murder happens. The victim is bound and gagged to a table, completely helpless. The killer slowly appears, wielding an axe, and the victim is clearly terrified. The next morning, Soo-yul wakes up to news reports about the murder all over the media. He remembers the advice Captain Choi gave him years ago. Choi was the one who encouraged Soo-yul to join the police force in the first place. He always told Soo-yul, turning a blind eye to someone you can save is the same as killing them yourself. Thinking about this, Soo-yul goes to see Choi and agrees to meet with his killer mother. Choi reveals Aishin's 2 conditions to Soo-yul. First, she wants to meet you. Second, she wants to change the location of the meeting, somewhere outside the prison. I've already installed surveillance cameras there. Sue wonders, what does she even want? Why does she want to see me? Choi suggests that maybe she misses him, but Sue immediately denies that. Only one guard is watching Aishin at the secluded location. The police want as few people as possible to know about this. On top of that, there's an electric fence surrounding the place, so she can't escape. When they go inside, Aishin is already waiting. Soo-yeol is visibly shaken when he sees his mother again. She notices the mark from his wedding ring on his finger and realizes Soo-yeol is married. She starts asking about his life, his kids, but he ignores her. He's not there for a family reunion and wants her to focus on the case. After reviewing the files from the recent cases, Aishin states that the copycat isn't just imitating the murders from 20 years ago. He's enjoying them. The cuts are so clean, meaning he's severing with just one strike. That's different from me, because I used a hacksaw. It would shake as I cut through, so it wouldn't be as clean. It seems like the killer is using an axe and is a strong man. She's describing this with a smile, making Soo-yeol incredibly uncomfortable. Everything she's saying is already in the analysis reports. Sue wants her to say something new, but she tells him with just these pictures, that's all I can tell you. Bring more pictures and we'll talk more. Sue angrily asks Aishin, why were you smiling like that earlier? Are you enjoying what you did back then? She responds, the smell of blood isn't so bad. You were breached when you were born, so the doctor said I needed a C-section to get you out. During the surgery, the anesthesia wore off halfway through. I had to endure the pain because I was afraid you'd be in danger. That's why I like the smell of blood. It's the scent of your birth. Hearing these cold words makes Soo-yeol even more disgusted with Aishin. To provide more information, Aishin wants to see the crime scenes. She wants to confirm something to be sure. Then she turns to the guard and says, bring me my meal here. Her tone is that of a queen.
The poor girl Yooni from the case a few days ago where the mother attacked the father has been brought in by Sewell, and he's asked his grandfather to take care of her for a few days. She's happier and slowly forgetting the sad things that happened with her parents. There, Sewell tells his grandfather about just meeting with Aishin. In my dreams, I still see her stabbing people and smiling. Lately, some crazy person is exactly copying the things that Aishin did years ago. I'm only meeting her to cooperate with the investigation. But his grandfather keeps saying that Sewell's mother is a demon and advises Sewell never to see her again. Meeting her once is more than enough. Sewell is then transferred to Choi's team. Everyone is surprised since Choi had always said he would never add new members. Nahi isn't too happy about Soo-yeol's arrival. She begs Choi to let her meet with Aishin to investigate, but he always refuses. And now he picks some guy to take over this case and makes him the team leader. After reviewing the recent cases, Soo-yeol notices something strange in the second murder. The case from 23 years ago didn't have that mirror, but this one does. He believes that the killer isn't just copying, he's deliberately adding his own style to express himself. Soo-yeol wants everyone to check if the mirror was already there or if the killer brought it. If there are drag marks, it's probably the killer's intention. He might be pretending to respect Aishin, but deep down he thinks differently, like, I'm better, and I'll make the victim suffer more. If he really wants to express himself, he's bound to make mistakes during his actions. The victims targeted by the killer aren't really clear. That night, everyone throws a party to welcome Sewell. Sewell apologizes to everyone for suddenly barging into this investigation. Even so, as the team leader, he promises to repay everyone with the results of the investigation. Nahi, on behalf of everyone, welcomes Soo-yeol to the team. Everyone agrees that they'll catch the killer for these recent murders. Meanwhile, Aishin suddenly wakes up in the middle of the night. Through the security camera, the guard sees her getting her headphones and listening to some music. At the same time, a man wearing glasses breaks into a family's home while everyone is sound asleep. He starts taking a syringe out of his bag and begins to act. The next morning, he wakes up on the sofa with the family members tied up below him. He leaves with a satisfied smile. On the other side, Aishin and the others arrive at the scene of the second murder. Seeing a music disc beside her, she turns it on to listen. Aishin observes everything around the crime scene while enjoying every note of the opera. While she's reminiscing about how she killed her victims back then, Soo-yeol suddenly turns off the music, really killing Aishin's vibe. There, she states that the mirror was moved by the killer, showing that he wanted to express that I caused more pain to the victim. Other than that, everything is exactly the same as what Aishin used to do. Right after that, Aishin vividly imagines the steps she took 23 years ago. Then she turns around and laughs like a madwoman, asking everyone, if the killer is copying what I used to do, what would he watch to copy me? Is it the images published in the newspaper? Saying that, Aishin refuses to reveal anything more. She believes the rest is up to the police. She's just a criminal. Soo-yeol immediately calls a team member to locate the newspaper article from that time. He instantly receives a picture of the newspaper, and through this, Soo-yeol realizes the crime scene is the opposite of the image published in the press. The killer isn't copying the content written in the press. He must have seen the court records or the investigation files. Hearing that, Aishin gives a mysterious smile that sends shivers down Sewell's spine. EP2. The investigation into what happened during Aishin's trial reveals that the court proceedings were sealed. That means only the judge, prosecutors, lawyers, and maybe the psychiatrist who evaluated her would have access to the records. The prosecutor's office confirms there were no known leaks of information. The psychiatrist is out of the country for another week. The judge passed away 3 years ago. That only leaves the lawyer from the trial. Soo-yeol tracks down the lawyer to ask about the trial records. The lawyer remembers keeping the file, but he can't find it anywhere. Soo-yeol asks if anyone else has been in and out of the office. The lawyer says only the cleaning person and some acquaintances. Then the lawyer suddenly remembered something odd. When I was building my house, I had to submit a lot of paperwork. They kept saying something was missing. But when I went to the government office, it turned out the construction company had made a mistake. The employee from the construction company apologized profusely and we chatted a bit. By coincidence, that employee was also from the orphanage that I and other lawyers sponsor. About a year ago, he came here looking for me. The lawyer retrieves a photo of the employee for Soo-yeol to see. The person he's talking about is that four-eyed guy, Gwon. He came to this very office and waited to see the lawyer. That same night, Soo-yeol and his team find Gwon's house to investigate. They sit and wait for a long time before he finally drives home. Instead of going inside, Gwon looks around suspiciously. He notices their car parked nearby, and he gets spooked. He floors the gas pedal and speeds away. Soo-yeol and his team chase after him, trying to block him. However, they can't stop him and they lose the suspect. Immediately afterwards, the team breaks into Gwon's house. Inside, they find all kinds of personal information that he's collected on other people. Nahi discovers the trial records of Aishin hidden under the floorboards, along with files on the lawyer and the prison warden who oversaw Aishin's incarceration. They also find files on Soo-yeol and everyone on the team. The evidence in this room suggests that he is planning to be a serial killer. Officer Lee notices that he seems to have a mental illness and wants to take a sample of the drugs to test what they are. Jian wants to take his computer back to crack the password. Inside the room, a 3D printer is located. He used it to create a homemade gun to carry out his plans. Soo-yeol discovers a bunch of letters sent to Gwon under Aishin's name. The letters were mailed from the prison where she is being held. Soo-yeol calls Choi to reveal this, suggesting that Aishin has been inciting Gwon to kill. Immediately, Soo-yeol goes to confront Aishin, asking, "Weren't 5 lives enough? You had to incite others? In the letter, you clearly wrote, 'You can also kill to become like me.' But Aishin denies sending any letters to Gwon.
Is there any proof that those letters were written by me? Is that all you cops can do?" She says nothing more, offering no further explanation. Meanwhile, Gwon returns to the house. He calls himself the husband and father of the victims he's holding captive, but it's actually the house of his half-brother.
The next day, Guan is preparing breakfast for himself. His sister-in-law and 2 nephews are still tied to chairs, while the fate of his half-brother is unknown. The police issue a special wanted bulletin for Guan, a suspect in a murder case with a history of schizophrenia and delusional disorder. Sue compares a statement that Aishin wrote herself 23 years ago with the letters from Guan's house. The handwriting is completely different. He concludes that Guan wrote the letters himself. Based on the evidence at his house, it's clear that he worships Aishin like a religious figure. Perhaps he wants to kill, but is afraid to do it. So he creates the illusion that Aishin is encouraging or ordering him to act. The letters he writes himself motivate him to overcome his fear and take action. At the same time, Jay has unlocked Guan's computer. Inside, there are many photos of him with his family, but they discover that the photos are photoshopped. He has superimposed his face onto his half-brother using the license plate of the car in the photo. They're able to identify the family. Back at the house, the captured mother tells her children to do whatever Guan says to survive this madman. Then she turns to Guan and asks, "Where is my husband?" He ignores her and forces everyone to tear up the family photos on the table. The 2 children refuse to listen, constantly saying, "You're not my dad, you're a bad man." Guan gets angry and takes the little boy into the bathroom to deal with him, ignoring the mother's pleas and begging. Just then, Suyul and his team arrive in time to stop him. They arrest him without giving him a chance to say anything. Before he leaves, he gives Suyul a chilling smirk. Through the investigation, they find that the missing husband is Sukwu, Guan's half-brother. Guan's biological mother gave up her parental rights before he was born. He was transferred from the hospital to an orphanage. His mother got married a few months later, and after a year, she gave birth to Sukwu. Guan targeted Sukwu because he believed his younger brother stole what should have been his. What everyone is wondering is how Guan connects to the 2 previous cases. They need to make him confess everything while finding the missing husband. Nahi asks Guan where Sukwu is, but he doesn't say anything. He just sits there smiling carelessly. She angrily asks, "Why did you want to steal everything from your younger brother? Is it to take revenge for your mother abandoning you?" But Guan constantly says, "That's not stealing. Those things were originally mine. I wasn't abandoned. It's your son who was abandoned. You gave up custody to that useless husband of yours, right? Because he has autism and is a burden to you." Hearing this makes Nahi furious, and she tries to give him a beating, but Suyul stops her in time. Then it's Suyul's turn to interrogate Guan. He says, "If Sukwu hadn't been born, my mother would have come to pick me up." But he refuses to say where Sukwu is now, or whether he's alive or dead. Guan knows a lot about Suyul's life. He knows he is the son of Aishin, and that he was born into an unhappy family. Suyul and his mother were constantly abused by her husband, which is why Aishin took action against him. Even though Suyul tries everything, he can't get him to say where Sukwu is. With no other choice, Choi wants to let Guan meet with Aishin. Maybe when he's face-to-face with his idol, he'll reveal everything. Soon after, Guan is brought to meet with Aishin. He seems eager to meet his idol, claiming he tried to imitate her as much as possible when targeting the victims. She asks how it felt, and he says it was incredibly satisfying. "So, why did you use an act like that? It ends too quickly." He stammers, unsure of how to answer. Aishin asks again, "Did the blood splash on your face? How did you feel then?" His eager smile fades, and he looks worried. At this point, Aishin knows that Guan is lying. He didn't target the previous victims because he's scared and cowardly. But Guan constantly says, "I did it. That Sukwu is definitely gone." Hearing the word definitely makes Aishin laugh. He's too cowardly to commit those brutal acts. Hearing this, she grabs Guan by the collar and gives him a taste of his own medicine. Seeing this, Suyul and the others run in to stop her. Guan passes out, shocking everyone. Suyul turns to criticize Aishin, but she says they had to kill him because he knew too much. At that moment, Guan wakes up and runs outside, but the doors are locked and he can't escape. Guan suddenly pulls out a gun, aiming it at everyone. While faking unconsciousness, he secretly stole the guard's gun. Suyul constantly urges him to calm down, trying to manipulate him into giving up the gun, but he can't. Guan suddenly points the gun at his head and coldly pulls the trigger. The gunshot echoes, startling Aishin inside. Guan is rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Everyone is trying to keep him alive because they haven't extracted any information. Sue is worried because he knows too much about him. Just then, Choi calls demanding that Soo-yeol get Gwon to talk ASAP. He's not connected to the previous cases, but he is connected to Suk-woo. As long as Suk-woo returns safely, no one will care about him. Choi talked to the director and reassured Soo-yeol that Gwon will be completely isolated from the outside world and won't have the opportunity to blabber about Soo-yeol's life. Gwon recovers from the surgery after the bullet luckily grazed his head. What needs to happen now is finding Suk-woo. Sue believes that Suk-woo is still alive because Gwon said Suk-woo is probably dead. The word probably confirms that he hasn't been able to confirm for sure. It seems that he left Suk-woo somewhere and doesn't know if he's still alive, but the only person who knows the location is in a coma. Soo-yeol suddenly remembers something and calls Jaeyeon asking her to check Gwon's computer again. Inside, there are many photos of him with his family, but they discover that the photos are photoshopped. He has superimposed his face onto his half-brother using the license plate of the car in the photo. They're able to identify the family. Immediately, Soo-yeol and the team head to the hospital. They believe Gwon abandoned Suk-woo somewhere there. They split up, searching all the rooms, looking in every nook and cranny. Just then, Soo-yeol sees some cleaning ladies taking blankets to the laundry. He asks and learns that there's another laundry area that isn't on the hospital's map. Sue tells everyone to go to the laundry room in the auxiliary building. There, Nahi discovers Suk-woo inside a washing machine that's running. She shuts off the machine and pulls him out. Sue quickly starts chest compressions, fighting to save Suk-woo's life. Sue feels more urgency than ever. Saving a life is like atoning for some of the mistakes his mother made. Meanwhile, Aishin opens the attic, which contains leaves. There are the leaves she collected whenever she was allowed outside for exercise.
These leaves must be part of some plan she has. Meanwhile, Soo-yeol's efforts paid off when Suk-woo regained consciousness. It's a huge relief for Soo-yeol. Soo then goes to see Aishin. There, he thanks her because in the end, it was thanks to her that Suk-woo was saved. Before that, Choi had told Soo-yeol everything. It turns out the condition Aishin gave in exchange for her confession years ago was to prevent Soo-yeol from suffering any harm because of her. She wanted to change Soo-yeol's name, then have Choi watch over Soo-yeol as he grew up and absolutely not let anyone know that Soo-yeol was her son. Sue asks her, "Do you miss me? Is it because you miss me that you made it a condition to call me before helping us?" Aishin doesn't answer, but asks, "Sue, is that Gwon still alive? He knows that you're my son and that you have a wife named Youngyeon. Does that girl, Youngyeon, know about me and you?" Sue leaves the answer open. He puts a bag of tea that she really likes on the table and then leaves. Back at the police station, Nahi asks Sue, "Do you think that Gwon is the killer of the previous cases?" Then she shows Soo-yeol his room, which contains files of the victims that Aishin killed. She believes that this place looks very clean, as if it's being worshipped. In particular, there are only zeros posted here, nothing else. Could there be another case of Aishin that we don't know about? Sue drops by to see his wife for a bit. Here, she understands that they have not yet found the killer. It's a long story, so Soo-yeol can't tell Youngyeon everything. Sue is really worried about Youngyeon because of what Aishin said. He's afraid that someone will harm her if they find out everything about his life. On the other side, the killer breaks into a man's house. He beats him up before kidnapping him. He puts him in a fish tank, then slowly drowns him, sending him to the afterlife. Sue meets with Choi to discuss case number 0. Both are wondering, did we miss one of Aishin's cases? Choi reviews the letter sent to Gwon under the name of Aishin. Feeling suspicious, he finds another letter that Aishin herself sent to him. The handwriting of the two letters looks quite similar. If both were written by Aishin, then that means she's provoking Gwon to kill people. Choi wonders, what does Aishin gain from Gwon killing people immediately? Sue goes to see Aishin. He unexpectedly grabs her hand and praises her. It's so warm. It's the hand that killed 6 people, not 5. Why did you manipulate that Gwon?
There's more than just these 5, right? Before killing the first victim and throwing the tongue in the river, you killed someone else first, right? She tells Sue to ask Choi because I've already confessed everything a long time ago. Hearing that makes Sue extremely annoyed. The next day, the police arrive at the scene where the man was murdered last night before. The victim's name is Sae-hyun, a professor at the music university. He lived alone because his family is all in Vancouver. An injection mark was found on his neck. There are a lot of mirrors left by the killer around the scene. It seems like it's a message that the killer wants to send to the police that he's still carefree and the police can't do anything about him. Sue then receives a lot of questions from reporters, but he ignores them all and doesn't answer a single one. His grandfather sees the news and calls Soo-yeon. He asks, "Have you been to see your mother again?" But the person who answers the phone is Young-yeon. She shows a suspicious look at the mother that her husband's grandfather mentioned. Through the security camera, the police have seen how the killer broke into the victim's house. He used a self-defense flashlight, making it impossible for the victim to see and retaliate. A coincidence with the previous cases is that the killer took the victim's phone. At this time, Jean has also located Sae-hyun's phone, and Sue-el and his team go there. Inside this house, Sue-el sees a very familiar table. It's the same table that his father made for him to draw on. Memories of his father keep flashing before his eyes. Searching around, everyone sees a ball inside a water basin. Sue remembers the memory from the past when he dropped a ball like that into a well. He asks everyone if they see a water well around here. This police officer remembers that before entering the house, they saw something that looked very much like a water well. Immediately, everyone runs out there to check. It really is a well, and it smells very foul because there's another body inside with a greeting message that says, "Congratulations on finally finding it." Through investigation, the victim's name is Wick, who disappeared suddenly 3 months ago. He was an IT programmer. In the early 2000s, this company partnered with the police to implement a project to digitize crime data. Choi remembers that Aishin's cases from back then were also handled by this company. Sue-el believes the killer used the victim to get information about Aishin. The forensic examiner determines the victim died directly from multiple stab wounds with the time of death at least 3 months old. The stab wounds seem to have been made with large fabric scissors and occurred suddenly from behind. The wounds on his chest look like the killer was playing around like he was drawing a picture. The female forensic examiner doesn't think this victim is a copycat of Aishin. It's completely different from the previous cases. Moreover, Aishin has never had a case that looks like this. Hearing this, Sue-el suddenly remembers something. He quietly goes alone to the well in his old house. Sue climbs down to the bottom of the well and discovers a human skeleton nearby with his father's wedding ring on it. At this point, he fully understands who the victim and the killer are. Sue goes to see Aishin. He throws the ring at her and asks, "Is that my father?" She doesn't hesitate to admit, "That's right, it was me who killed him. In my life, it's the best thing I've ever done. Thanks to that, you're alive." Sue bursts into tears when he hears what Aishin said. He thinks the reason she just gave is horrible, but she keeps saying she's not making any excuses. That day, Soo-yeol's father came home drunk. He found soot on Aishin's hand and assumed his wife was having an affair with the miner in the village. However, Aishin kept denying it. He forced Aishin to take off all her clothes for him to check. At this time, Soo-yeol suddenly appeared and asked his father to stop. He angrily pulled Soo-yeol outside to teach him a lesson. Aishin couldn't stand it and took action to save her son. But the noteworthy thing is that Soo-yeol doesn't remember anything about that incident. Sue still thinks that Aishin is lying. He still remembers vividly that his father was very good. His father gave him a desk and played ball with him. Aishin insists that those were the times when he didn't drink. Soo-yeol says, "Then why have you been hiding this all this time? Why?
When it was your fault, did you make the excuse that it was for the sake of the children? Because no one asked me about it, since you didn't remember anything about that night, I said he had an affair and left home. Aishin also says that killing someone is really easy, but the problem is how to dispose and clean up the body.
That day, it was very hard for me to drag the body into the well, but luckily, it rained. A good opportunity to erase all the evidence of the crime. She has never regretted killing her husband. In an incredibly proud and insane tone. Then what crimes did the next 5 people commit that they had to die? Or did you simply want to kill people and kill them? The first time you killed my father, you felt joy, right? Ocean smiles and admits, that's right, but I still regret that I couldn't handle it neatly that day. I should have chopped off every part of that guy's body, but left the head as it was, because he had to witness his body being cut off. But because it was the first time, I did it too sloppily. Because it was too sloppy, I didn't report it to the police. Hearing this, Suyol angrily grabs Ocean by the neck. He keeps begging her to stop. He can't stand hearing her say such disgusting things. Ocean keeps advising Suyol, just kill me. If you kill this disgusting mother, you'll reduce a part of the burden. But Suyol isn't heartless enough to do that. The next day, Sue goes to his grandfather to ask about his parents. He says that Ocean lost her mother when she was young, so the two of them were only with their father, but the relationship wasn't very good, cold, and they didn't say a word to each other. After Ocean got married, he would often go to see how his daughter was living. At that time, he saw the husband often being jealous of his daughter for no reason. The son-in-law was a well-known scumbag in the area. Then that fateful night, he also witnessed the whole scene of the daughter killing her husband. Sue reproaches him. Why didn't you make her confess or report her to the police? If you had reported her to the police at that time, everything could have stopped. I was going to, but I couldn't. How could I ruin my daughter's life? I knew that I had committed a sin that I could never repay in my whole life. With the mentality of repaying the debt, I raised you, and then adopted other children. But no matter who I raise, how can that sin disappear? Sue goes to see Ocean again. He reveals that the killer knows about her past, about the truths that even the police don't know. He wants to start with his father's case first. He shows her profiles of the neighbors who live near that area. He wants to know if she recognizes anyone. Ocean chooses a man among them. She says that he's also a scumbag, an alcoholic, and a criminal record for assault and sexual harassment. Here, Ocean suddenly asks about Sue's wife. If my existence is known to the whole world, will that girl Yun still be by your side? Suyol affirms, if so, then I'll choose to leave. Ocean continues to talk about the neighbor's family. His wife left home, so he lived with his son. The son is weak in character and often feels lonely, so he almost always comes to our house to play. The boy had wounds on him, and there were more and more every day. So I went to that house to meet the guy called his father. I saw the boy was also going to attack his father, but he couldn't do it. And then I saw him use a hammer to hit his hand. It seems like it was a cry for help to send to me. At that time, the boy, Min-jae, saw me leave. Later, when I was on the news, he must have known I used anesthetics. When the boy knows I came to kill his father, how will he feel? After that implied speech, Sue reports this to Choi. He thinks that Min-jae is most likely the copycat killer. That Min-jae is a neighbor and knows who Suyol is. That's why he deliberately led Suyol to that well to evoke memories in him. On the other side, Young Yun and her sister come to visit Suyol's mother's grave, but she never imagined that it was just a fake grave, since Ocean is still alive. At this time, they both see a bouquet on the ground. They believe that someone often comes to visit her. The two then go to Suyol's old house. At that moment, a neighbor loudly asks them, "Who's coming here?" Youngyun explains, "My husband lived in this house when he was young. We're just looking for a bit and then we'll leave right away." At the same time, his son is there. He's Min-jae, that Ocean mentioned. Seeing this, the father suddenly runs away. Min-jae explains, my father is not very normal. Knowing that Youngyun is Ocean's daughter-in-law, Minj tells them to feel free to look around the house. He also claims to know a lot about Aunt Ocean. While Youngyun and her sister are standing at the bus stop, Minj comes to show off something. Is a photo of him being taken with Ocean. They're both surprised when they see a photo of her for the first time. Youngyun takes out her phone and asks him to take a picture of this photo. Since they're going the same way, he offers to take them home. After a little hesitation, they both agree to get in the car. When they get home, Soo-yeol is already waiting for Youngyun here. Seeing his wife coming with Min-jae makes Soo-yeol worried. Min-jae also recognizes Soo-yeol, but he tries to ignore him. The two sisters, Youngyun, then invite Min-jae into the house to play. Min-jae starts telling stories about his memories with Soo-yeol when he was young, but he always says he doesn't remember anything. Min-jae asks curiously, "Then don't you remember the mantis case?" The two sisters, Youngyun, are wondering, so Min-jae tells them, "That was a serial killer, a young woman who killed 5 people. That woman only chose those who abused women or children and cruelly killed them." Min-jae admits that he really admires that woman because she's sensitive to the pain of others. Soo-yeol immediately opposes Minj's point of view. No matter what the circumstances, killing people is illegal. Min-jae also says, compared to the mantis, I'm more curious about her son. Hearing those provocative words makes Soo-yeol uneasy. After seeing Min-jae off, Soo-yeol continues to ask Youngyun, "Why did you go there?" She says, "I just wanted to confirm something, that your mother is really dead. Before that, your grandfather called you and I answered the phone. He suddenly told you not to go see your mother anymore, which made me very curious. But when I arrived and saw your mother's grave, I wasn't curious anymore." Youngyun is sure that Soo-yeol has something to hide about his family, including the fact that he doesn't want to have children is related to that, but Soo-yeol can't explain. Soo-yeol checks the dash cam and sees that Min-jae has come to his house several times. Soon after, he also finds Min-jae's whereabouts. In front of him is a shop with a signboard that says Business Association. He breaks in and it really is where he lives, with a computer that has a background of him being photographed next to the fake grave of Ocean. At that moment, Choi calls, and Soo-yeol also reveals this. He's sure that Min-jae has been following him and Youngyun all along. Here, Soo-yeol discovers a lot of horror models, and he's trying to recreate the murders of Ocean. At the same time, Min-jae has returned home and discovers that someone has broken in. He slowly walks in and is knocked unconscious by Soo-yeol. Soo-yeol immediately asks him, "You're the one who killed everyone, right?" He doesn't answer, but asks Soo-yeol, "Is our mother still healthy?" On the other side, the warden discovers that Ocean is lying motionless on the floor. He panics and runs in to check on her. Seeing that Ocean has stopped breathing, he performs CPR. However, she only faked death and gave something to the warden in his mouth. He immediately collapses. In that moment, on this side, Min-jae is taken to the station for questioning. He denies that he's the killer in the recent cases. To prove this, he needs a laptop with an internet connection. He'll show Soo-yeol what he's been doing and where he's been during the time the cases took place.
Through this, it can be seen that Minj isn't the killer. At the same time, Gwon in the hospital has regained consciousness. He's still haunted by Aishin's actions a few days ago. He keeps screaming that he can't breathe. Hearing this, Nahi unties him. Taking that opportunity, he grabs Nahi's head and knocks her unconscious. Gwon quickly runs out of the hospital. The security guards here can't do anything to him either. Receiving the news, Soo-yeol is looking for Gwon. He crosses all the alleys and crashes into a car running on the road, and the other car also runs away. Gwon tells Soo-yeol, "Isn't me being like this what you wanted? Because I knew everything about you." Gwon slowly passes away. On this side, Choi goes to the place where Aishin was being held, but she has escaped. Even the warden's shoes were taken by her. Nahi can only apologize for letting Gwon escape and for the incident that happened. She thinks that the car that crashed into Gwon is very suspicious. That car aimed straight at him as if trying to eliminate Gwon to silence him. Sewol is still angry about Nahee's behavior. He questions her, "Why did you go to Guan without telling me? Is it because you're dissatisfied with me sitting in the position of team leader? Don't you trust me that much?" In response, Nahee says, "We listen to you not because you're the team leader, but because we think you can help the team investigate. It's not just you who's tired, we are too." At the same time, Aishin suddenly comes to Yoongi's house. Facing the mysterious mother-in-law makes Yoon-yeon surprised. Here, Yoon-yeon apologizes to her because she had always thought her mother-in-law was dead. Aishin also admits that it was what both she and Sewol wanted. The police have been tracking Aishin for 6 hours, but there's no clue. Sewol is sure that she was the one who drove the car that crashed into Guan last night. Everyone is wondering where she would go after committing the crime. In a flash, Sewol suddenly remembers Yoon-yin and runs home to check. When he arrives, Aishin is still there, and Yoon-yeon already knows the relationship between the two of them. The thing that Sewol has been trying to hide all along, Aishin came here just to meet her son's wife. There's no other reason, but Sewol is always on guard with her. Soon after, Aishin voluntarily puts her hands in handcuffs for Sewol to extradite. Sewol believes that Aishin escaped last night and stole a car at the hospital, then attacked Guan. All of the milestones and times are very consistent. She seems surprised to learn that Guan is dead. Even so, she still affirms that he deserved to die because he knew too much. She asks Sewol how he feels about seeing Guan die. "Don't you really feel lucky? Now you're really safe." Hearing those words makes Sewol shudder. Outside, Sewol asks Choi if he thinks he looks like her. Choi doesn't understand what Sewol means, but he affirms firmly that he doesn't look alike at all. Returning home, Yoon-yeon has one thing she really wants to ask Sewol, because every night she hears him calling his mother in his dreams. She thinks Sewol misses her, so that's why. Hearing that makes Sewol even more confused about himself. The next day, Minj is officially released after having an alibi. Sewol has to drive him home himself. Here, Minj wonders and asks Sewol if he really doesn't remember anything from when he was little, the time that the two of them went to the beach with his mother. But Sewol always affirms that he doesn't remember anything. Minj also promises to keep the secret about the relationship between Sewol and Aishin. Minj says that when he was little, "My memories of my father were all about being beaten by him. The person I used to be so afraid of has become the person I have to take care of. Maybe your mother has now become someone you need to take care of." Sewol doesn't think that Aishin intended to kill Minj's father to help him simply because she wanted to kill someone to satisfy her bestiality. She just randomly chose one among those who had faults to attack and then justified that she had attacked those who deserved to die. It's all because of her. Sewol advises Minj not to worry about Aishin anymore. But for Minj, he has an opposite thought. Minj always affirms that his mother loves him very much, but he seems stubborn and refuses to admit it. Both he and Aishin are the same. Hearing this makes Sewol extremely angry. Many people have said that to him before, and he never wants to hear it, even if it's his mother. Killing people can't be sympathized or loved and missed. The copycat killer is someone who knows about Aishin killing her husband. 20 years ago, she didn't tell the police about this either. That Guan seems to have guessed something, but he didn't write anything down, which proves that he didn't know clearly either. Choi believes that the killer is someone whom Aishin is willing to tell all her hidden crimes. Then he suddenly remembers that a psychiatrist had examined Aishin that year. On this side, Min goes to see Yoon-yeon's close sister Ara. After the meeting the day before, the two also have feelings for each other. At this time, Yoon-yeon is also there, so she has something to ask Min about whether Sewol and his mother loved each other when he was little. Min affirms that they did. Everyone can see that the two mother and son lived very happily.
Sewall meets with the female doctor who examined Aishin that year. He wants to know if Aishin ever revealed to her that she killed her husband. The female doctor can't reveal it because these are secrets of her clients. So she politely asks Sewall to leave. He can't do anything more because there is no search warrant. At that moment, a patient comes to see the female doctor, and that patient is Choi. To buy her some time, taking this opportunity, Sewall quickly takes Aishin's information from the computer. Upon checking, Choi discovers that Sewall's grandmother died in front of Aishin. Sewall is stunned by this information. Immediately, he goes to see his grandfather to ask about it. He says his house unexpectedly caught fire that year. His wife was trapped inside and couldn't get out. Hearing his mother calling for help, Aishin intended to rush into the fire to save her mother. At that time, he was very scared and only knew how to hold on to Aishin tightly. By all means, he didn't want to lose his daughter anymore. After this incident, Aishin closed the door of her heart to him. Perhaps because of that, it later caused terrible things. If he had rushed into the fire with her mother at that time and burned to ashes together, then innocent victims wouldn't have had to die at the hands of Aishin. Sewall doesn't think his grandfather is at fault in this matter. He still remembers very clearly the day Aishin was arrested. At that time, his grandfather came to find him. Even though he had never met him before, it was his grandfather and Police Captain Choi who raised him. In his eyes, both are his parents. Sewall unexpectedly receives a package from an anonymous person. Inside is a phone containing a video that the killer filmed himself when attacking the victims. At that moment, someone calls this phone. He tells Sewall to give this phone to that woman. Hearing this, Sewall also understands that it's Aishin. Nahi wonders who that woman is. Sewall hesitates and doesn't know how to say it. Seeing this, Choi intends to pull Sewall outside to talk privately, and this makes Nahi very annoyed. She immediately scolds both of them, saying, "Are we puppets?"
Why do the two of you always whisper to each other when something is going on? Choi promises to explain everything later, and Soo-yeol doesn't want people to suspect anymore, so he reveals that Aishin is helping in our investigation. And now Soo-yeol wants everyone to join forces. Choi reminds everyone not to reveal the cooperation with Aishin to the outside. Just a little bit of exposure to the media, and everything will be over. Nahi wonders and asks Soo if there's anything else he's planning to hide. After a little hesitation, he affirms that there's nothing else. Hearing that, Nahi is relieved and takes out a dating app for Soo-yoo to see with a girl named Joy. Among those who follow her are 4 victims, so the next victim may be among those who follow her. Soo thanks Nahi for this important information. Then everyone comes together to meet Aishin. They open the video on that phone for her to watch. After watching, she thinks that the killer is a very confident person. He doesn't think he'll be caught. He has a desire to express himself and arrogance. If you stimulate those things, you can lead him to make mistakes. Soo is sure that the killer will call Aishin through this phone. He wants her to do something to atone for all the mistakes she has made. It's never too late, and he'll give her a chance. Choi then calls Min. He wants to know if Min uses any dating apps. He admits that he does. Hearing Choi mention an account named Joy, Min immediately recognizes it. He reveals that she once said she watched my web and is a fan of mine, but we've never met privately. A little later, the killer calls Aishin. He admits that the imitation is to let more people know about what she has done. He knows that there are many people around Aishin. He says that he has installed a frequency converter, so it can't be traced. At the same time, he reveals that tonight, in the final scene, the next victim will be. After saying that, he hangs up. Soo wonders about the final scene that the killer mentioned. It must be some kind of performance. Everyone checks the followers of Joy's account and discovers an opera singer. Tonight, there will be a performance at the art theater. Everyone intends to go there to check, but Aishin stops them. She doesn't think the killer would easily let everyone know where the murder will take place. She believes he has some kind of scheme. Even so, everyone ignores her and goes to the art theater to track him down. They start searching the waiting rooms, checking suspicious audience members, but there's no problem at all. At the same time, Min is texting with an account named Joy on the dating app. Min invites her to meet, and she immediately agrees. Soon after, Min calls Sue, intending to report this, but he doesn't answer, so he sends him a text message. At that moment, many text messages that the Joy account sent to Min witness this strange thing, making Min panic. Before Min can understand what is going on, the killer is already here. He uses the familiar flashlight and beats Min up. On this side, Choi asks Aishin, "Why didn't you tell me about the case of her husband that year? Because you didn't ask me. So you were also planning to go to his house to kill Min's father?" Aishin doesn't answer but says that Min was always wandering around my house. He looked so hungry, so I fed him. His face was dirty, so I bathed him. But he was always a hungry child. At that moment, the killer sends a video to Aishin about the scene where he attacked Min Jae. On the other side, Soo-yeol has arrived at Min Jae's house. Soo is horrified to see Min tied up. He keeps asking Min who did this, but Min can't answer in his weak breath. Aishin is then brought to the scene to investigate. She thinks this isn't his familiar style. He doesn't act hastily and doesn't have a plan like that. Here, the killer left a painting between Aishin and Soo-yeol at the beach. At that time, Min could only stand from afar to watch the two. Min really envied Soo-yeol and really needed a mother like that. Until the very end, Min still wanted to help Soo-yeol catch the killer by calling and texting Soo-yeol. Unfortunately, Soo-yeol didn't answer the phone, and now he regrets it very much. Soo really wants to catch the person who attacked Min Jae. He bows his head and begs Aishin for help. From now on, he will listen to anything she says. The next day, the killer continues to call Aishin. She criticizes him for acting so clumsily. "It doesn't look like your style, and it doesn't look like my style." Even so, he still affirms that he did it himself. He explains that the final scene is that painting. Because he was painting, he died. Aishin calls him a cheap jerk. He can't even imitate properly. Then she hangs up. While everyone doesn't understand why Aishin did that, Soo-yeol knows that she's trying to provoke the killer and use him as bait. That's right. In just a moment, he continues to call Aishin. This time, he turns on the camera to prove it to her. He shows the tools he prepared to attack the next victim. He will imitate the fourth case that Aishin committed, using a spoon to press into the nose. The victim's arms and legs are broken and they die from losing too much blood. He admits that he acted a bit hastily last time, but this time he will do it more carefully. He also shows Aishin the room with a challenging attitude and wants to prove that he will be better. Jin checks that video and finds out that it's the Esto Premier Hotel. Immediately, the whole team starts to act. While everyone is finding their way to that hotel, the killer continues to call Aishin. He wants her to witness firsthand the scene where he attacks that victim. A little later, the police arrived at the hotel. Through that video, the hotel staff recognizes that it's the Studio Seal room, but there are 57 rooms like that here, and they are spread out from the 3rd floor to the 13th floor. With no other choice, everyone has to split up to check each room. They went through the entire 3rd floor, but couldn't find the killer anywhere. Since there isn't much time left, Nahi suggests pressing the alarm. This way, they can stop the killer from acting. But Soo-yeol is afraid that if they do that, he will recognize it and run away. He's determined to prevent Nahi from pressing the bell. At this time, Jin announces that the security camera on the 4th floor has been turned off for 2 hours. Soo-yeol suddenly remembers the number 418 that appeared in Aishin's case in the past. Immediately, he mobilizes everyone to check it. Nahi watches the video and sees that the killer is about to attack the victim. She doesn't need to wait for Soo-yeol's order and immediately presses the alarm bell. Hearing the alarm bell, everyone rushes to run away. At this time, Soo-yeol sees a suspect wearing clothes similar to the hotel guests here. Soo-yeol chases after him alone, and Nahi's team goes in to check on the victim. Soo-yeol follows the killer down to the basement. He suddenly puts a basket behind him, causing him to faint. When Soo-yeol falteringly walks out of there, the youngest member of the team has just arrived. But when did the killer escape? The victim is then taken to the hospital in critical condition.
thanks to Nahi's timely ringing of the bell, but in return, the killer was lost. Nahi is really curious about Suyel's personality. Just because of Min, he ignores everything to catch the killer. She really wants to know what the relationship between Suyel and Min is. Then she tells Sunyu to investigate Suyel's background further. While preparing to attack the victim,
Aishin is determined not to help, even steering the topic to herself. She knows that team leader Kim has a son, but after the divorce, she did not fight for custody, but gave it to her ex-husband. Aishin has seen through the inner world of team leader Kim. She says it was the child's choice, but in reality, she is afraid that she cannot bear the responsibility of a mother. Since then, team leader Kim has considered work as everything, because if she can't even do her job well, she will not be able to forgive herself for abandoning her son. According to Aishin, team leader Kim's urgency is exactly like her son, Suyel's urgency. To prove that he is different from his murdering mother, Suyel has tried his best to become a police officer. Aishin asks team leader Kim to bring Suyel. She believes that these two urgent people should cooperate to investigate the case. Because of Aishin's words, team leader Kim has taken the initiative to humble herself and invite Suyel back to the investigation team. Things have come to this point. There can be no more victims. She believes that Suyel will be a good police officer, using his ability to solve cases to prove everything. After Suyel rejoins the team, Aishin finally agrees to cooperate. She once again contacts the killer, Yang Zhang. Aishin mentions the doctor who was murdered by Yang Zhang, mocking that he is just a weak person who is venting his anger indiscriminately, completely unworthy of being her imitator. These words angered Yang Zhang. In the conversation, he admitted his identity and boasted that Aishin should thank him because her son, Suyel, has the happy life he has now thanks to him. In anger, Yang Zhang vowed to destroy everything that Aishin cherishes. Aishin quickly grasps the clue in Yang Zhang's words. She asks her son how he met his wife, Yunyan. For Suyel, knowing his wife is the beginning of his happy life. He remembers very clearly that it was Yunyang's best friend who introduced her to him that year. Thinking of this, Suyel feels that something is wrong, but at this moment, both his wife's and her best friend's phones cannot be contacted. The members of the team go to her best friend's house, but she has been missing for a long time. Meanwhile, her best friend is driving Yunyan out. When the car passes a gas station, Yunyan discovers that her phone has inexplicably turned off. After restarting the phone, she sees countless urgent messages from her husband. Suyel affirms that her best friend is Yang Zhang after the gender reassignment, the imitator who murdered Min Jae and many others. He urges his wife to run away quickly. Yunyan is extremely panicked. Taking advantage of her best friend's refueling, Yunyan hurries to contact her husband. Suyel is on his way and tells his wife to leave her best friend immediately. Yunyan quietly hides in an abandoned warehouse next to the gas station. Fortunately, the nearby patrol police quickly arrived according to Suyel's arrangement. The police officer escorts Yunyan into the car, but unexpectedly, her best friend suddenly drives the car and crashes into them. Immediately after that, in front of Yunyan, she brutally murdered the police officer. At this moment, her best friend finally reveals her true face with a look full of excitement. She introduces herself to Yunyan. Suyel's prediction is completely correct. She is Yang Zhang. When Suyel and his team arrive, both Yang Zhang and Yunyan have disappeared. The police officer's gun was also taken by Yang Ho. At the same time, Yang Zhang calls Suyel. On the other end of the line, she laughs madly and admits to kidnapping Yunyan and brags that she has left a gift for Suyel in the car. Suyel discovers that there is a pregnancy test strip for his wife. Seeing the two red lines, he becomes even more scared and insecure. Immediately after that, he contacts Yang Ho, his voice full of worry, asking his senior to investigate all the locations related to Yang Zhang. At this time, Yoon-yeon has been kidnapped by Yang-jong to a certain place. For a maniac like Yang-jong, introducing Yoon-young to Soo-yeol that year was to repay Ai-shin because she had helped her kill her abusive father. The next day, Yang-jong once again makes a video call to Ai-shin, and this time she publicly reveals her face. The location in the video is Yang-jong's secret base. Inside are all her surgical instruments. Since she was young, every time she was harassed by her father, Yang-jong would bring dogs and cats home to kill and dissect. And now she plans to attack a pregnant woman, Yoon-yeon. Ai-shin tries to protect her daughter-in-law. She advises Yang-jong that if she feels dissatisfied, just come to her to vent her anger. Yang-jong agrees, promising to release Yoon-yeon. But in return, Ai-shin must personally come to her secret base. Soo-yeol falls into an extremely difficult situation. On one side is his wife and the child in her womb. On the other is his mother. He doesn't know whether he should use his mother to exchange or not. Ai-shin is determined to go for her crime of killing many people. She doesn't feel guilty at all. Only her son, Soo-yeol, is someone she cannot let go of. In the team, some people don't trust team leader Soo-yeol. They worry that if the exchange goes wrong, both serial killers, Yang-jong and Ai-shin, will escape. On the contrary, team leader Kim firmly stands on Soo-yeol's side. Although there have been many conflicts and dissatisfactions in the past, she always believed that her team leader is a righteous police officer. The director of the police department is dissatisfied with the exchange plan, even requesting Young-ho to withdraw from the investigation. But Young-ho doesn't agree. It turns out that many years ago, when he was a patrol police officer, he had heard Yang-jong being beaten by her father. But at that time, he didn't break down the door to rush in. So now he feels extremely regretful in his heart. If he had handled it properly at that time, if he had fulfilled the responsibility of a police officer, perhaps the series of tragedies later would not have happened. Therefore, now he must end this all himself. The director cannot persuade Young-ho, but at the same time secretly orders team leader Kim and the other members. He asks them to act independently. Once ensuring the safety of the hostage to prevent Yang-jong's criminal behavior, they can shoot down Ai-shin if necessary. After everything is arranged properly, Ai-shin is taken out of the detention villa under the escort of the police to carry out the hostage exchange plan. Soo-yeol's inner self is extremely complex. He promises to protect both his wife and his mother, will not let her have an accident. Even Soo-yeol secretly gave his mother the handcuff keys. On the outside, after helping his mother zip up her jacket, the action officially begins. According to Yang-jong's request, Soo-yeol must personally go with his mother to meet her. Yang-ho orders that when the hostage exchange is complete, everyone will immediately set off to it. When the safety of the hostage is ensured, then they are allowed to break in. At the same time, Yang-jong also brings Yoon-yeon with a gun in her hand. Ai-shin tells Soo-yeol that when Yoon-yeon is safe, just shoot him. She disregards the danger she will encounter. Yoon-yeon doesn't forget to thank her mother-in-law. Then the two hostages begin to be exchanged for each other. Immediately, Yang-jong takes Ai-shin away, and Young-ho immediately orders
Ai-shin to remove the tracking device. This causes the police to lose track of her. At that moment, Yang-jong sees Nahee's presence and he immediately shoots at her. Nahee doesn't hesitate to respond with a bullet embedded in Yang-jong's hand. Knowing he can't fight back, he immediately takes Ai-shin and runs away. The police then lost track of both. This mine is very large, so it will take them a long time to check everything. On the other side, Young-yeon is taken to the hospital for a health check. Fortunately, the baby in her wound is fine. Soo-yeol asks Young-yeon if she remembers anything while being captured. She remembers that in that basement, there was a powerful smell of iron, and there was a creaking sound somewhere. The surroundings are old machinery parts, and there are scriptures written on them, and the floor is a very old cement floor. Young-yeon wants Soo-yeol to find her mother right now. She feels that Yang-jong is completely crazy and her mother will be in danger.
Meanwhile, Youngjong has taken Aishin down to the basement and he begins to treat the wound on his hand. Youngjong criticizes Aishin because that son is not worth her worrying about. He completely treats her as someone who no longer exists in this world. Even though not everyone in this world knows of her existence, the only person who will never forget her is me. The only person who is proud of her is me. When you punish those who deserve to die, you really look very cool. I really liked you and wanted to become someone like you. You are the one who created me today, so please take a little responsibility. You saved me from the hands of my father. So why are you so irresponsible? Then Youngjong hugs Aishin tightly. She thinks that both of them can return to the world of humans. Having stepped into the realm to become a monster, she is so crazy that he even kisses Aishin. Aishin asks him if you use the name Joy to find prey on the app. Right after killing the prey, you should have deleted all their accounts. It was because of this that the police tracked the traces from there. You lengthened your tail yourself, and the police will come here because of the blood you left behind. Did you take me here just to express your love? If you want to kill me, do it quickly because there isn't much time left. Hearing this, he gets angry and immediately pulls out a knife. At the same time, Aishin has also unlocked herself. She immediately bites his hand and pushes him to fall backwards. She quickly picks up the knife to cut the rope. Youngjong intends to hit her with a hammer, but she gives him a fatal stab. Aishin advises Youngjong to hold his breath because he can't hold on for long. If the police come early, you have a chance to survive. When he knows Aishin intends to return to prison, Youngjong prevents her. He reveals that there is a passage here that the police will not know. He promises to help her leave here so she can have a free life. Then he keeps begging her to escape. Immediately after that, Youngjong throws a box at Aishin. Inside contains something that makes Aishin stagger. A little later, Suyeil arrived at this warehouse. He slowly walks inside to check, but doesn't see anyone. At that moment, Youngjong unexpectedly appears from behind to ambush him. He reveals Aishin has just left the door on the other side. You don't know anything about your mother. You won't know anything in this life and just die like that. While Youngjong is about to shoot, Nahi Kapoy arrives to prevent it. He picks up the knife and immediately gives Nahi a stab. He intends to give her a second stab, but Suyeil Kipoy shoots him to finish him off. Now he keeps saying she's fine. Then she advises Suyeil to quickly go find Aishin and bring her back. Immediately after that, Nahi is taken to the hospital and Suyeil quietly leaves without a trace. The police immediately issued a secret wanted list for both Aishin and Suyeil when they couldn't contact Suyeil and thought the two mother and son had colluded. And Suyeil keeps avoiding the police teams that are searching all over the streets. Immediately after that, Suyeil decides to call Young-ho. He advises Young-ho not to worry too much, and he promises to bring Aishin back. Although Young-ho keeps asking her you are, he refuses to stay here. Suyeil wonders and asks Young-ho, why do you treat Aishin and me so well? I know the two of you have an agreement, but I think there's more to it than that. Young-ho explains that in terms of human beings, I have never thought that what Aishin did was wrong. But in the name of a police officer, I have to arrest her. Even so, Suyeil always affirms that Aishin is just a killer. She can't prevent crime and can't save anyone. After saying that, Suyeil hangs up. Suyeil then quietly goes to Youngjong's house. Here, he meets his teammate Sungha. Sungha knows that Suyeil wants to go inside the house to check, so he lures the two police officers who are guarding him to another place so that Suyeil can do that. Going inside, Suyeil sees a strange painting in the glass cabinet. He pulls the cabinet out, and there is a secret room here that Youngjong prepares plans to attack the victims. Suyeil turns on the computer, and inside videos are recording Aishin undergoing psychological treatment with hypnosis from doctors. She unexpectedly reveals that her father had touched her many times. He was the one who burned her mother alive. Hearing this makes Suyeil startled, since before that, his grandfather had told him about the fire completely opposite. Meanwhile, Aishin is holding her own father. Seeing his daughter, he looks extremely panicked. Many years ago, he had touched Aishin many times, and his wife had discovered this. She kept scolding him as inhumane while he kept justifying this. Immediately after that, he angrily pulled his wife outside and coldly attacked her in front of Aishin's witness. And then he burned down the entire house to create a fake scene. This wretched father pushed Aishin to become a killer. Because of her hatred for him, she attacked such inhumane fathers. While Aishin intends to finish him off, Suyeil unexpectedly arrives. He points the gun on his mother and forces her to drop the knife. And the old disgusting man keeps advising Suyeil to shoot this demon. Suyeil angrily turns to tell him to shut his mouth. Every day, you tell me that my mother is a demon, And then I believed your words. Suil advises Aishin to return and not let those hands be stained with more blood. At this time, she agrees to release her father. At that moment, Suil hears a noise outside. He runs to open the door and sees the girl he adopted. Seeing the girl with lipstick and blush makes him collapse. He understands that he has harmed this girl's life. Suil gets mad and points the gun at him. Seeing his son intend to pull the trigger, Aishin immediately prevents him. She advises Suil not to become a person like his mother. Then she injects Suil with a dose of anesthetics. She wants to personally handle that disgusting man. Aishin thinks that both of them have brought too much suffering to Suil. Therefore, she wants both of them to pay the price here. Aishin starts pouring gasoline throughout this church and setting herself and the old, disgusting father on fire. When the flames ignite, it is also when Suil has awakened, and he immediately finds a way to get inside to save his mother. Suil breaks the window to climb inside. At this time, Aishin has fainted on the floor. Seeing this, Suil immediately takes her outside. He keeps compressing her chest. For the first time in his life, he calls her mother. Then for the first time, he feels worried for his mother to that extent. After a while, Aishin also wakes up, and the old, disgusting grandfather has turned into ash and turned into smoke. Immediately after that, Aishin voluntarily asks Suil to take her back to prison. Before doing so, he wants to visit her often with his wife Youngyeon in the future, because he still considers Aishin as his mother. But she keeps advising Suil to forget this mother. Live your life as before. Blood doesn't mean anything. The way you live is what's important. You have lived differently from me and have tried to become a police officer and have saved many people. So you are a completely different person from me. At that moment, Young-ho and everyone are also present here. Suil immediately sends his thanks to Nahi for saving his life. But Nahi thinks that it's just duty when both are a team. As for this girl, Suil will take her home to take care.
Meanwhile, Young-ho tells Aishin in advance that in the future, public opinion will be very noisy. In addition, the previous incentives and the agreed content will be cancelled. Aishin also sends her thanks to Young-ho when he kept his promise to raise Soo-hyul to become a completely good person. Although there is no mother by his side, Soo-hyul still tries to grow up. That makes Aishin happier than anything else. Sometime later, another case appears. The victim is identified as the director of police, Young-ho. Immediately, Nahi and Soo go to Aishin. It seems that this case was caused by another copycat killer. Here, the Queen Mantis movie has also ended. With such an open ending, there will likely be more parts to come. See you in the upcoming